Hey everybody, what's up? This is Austin coming at you with your Wednesday dose of FTM awesomeness. So, the topic of this week is to talk about relationships, like FTM relationships and our experience with that, and just like our dating experience in general. Well, I could talk about my dating history, which I don't want to say it's like extensive, but I just feel like that's like a little bit unnecessary for me personally, since I've only been out since I've been dating the same guy. So I'm just gonna talk about that, I guess. Like what my experience has been dating a guy who didn't know that I was FTM when we started dating. I feel like if you go into a relationship where the person knows that you're FTM, and which I would really recommend because it's gonna cause problems later. It is going to cause problems if you are not upfront with them. I don't even need to have been in that situation to tell you that part of being in a relationship is trust. And you are breaking their trust if you are omitting that information. And they are the only ones, in my opinion, that really need to know what is between your legs. And even then, only if you're having sex, or if they ask you. If they ask you and look directly in your eyes and say, "Are you trans?" and you say no, to me that's very different than if you decide to do that with somebody who you'll never see again, or you don't care about that much, or you just don't feel like it's information that they need to have. That's fine. But if you're dating somebody, I feel like they have the right to know that up front. I wasn't upfront with him, but that was because I was still working through it myself. And when I did finally decide, this about myself, I did tell him. And I knew that, well, I know him very well, and so I knew that he probably wouldn't mind. But there's always that nagging thing, like, oh my god, they could completely take this horribly, they could flip out, I don't know what's going to happen. But I trusted him, and I told him, and he took it extremely well, which, as my counselor pointed out, is extraordinary. It's a different playing field if you're dealing with somebody that you're already in a relationship with, because then it's like you're kind of pulling the rug out from under them, in a sense. Not necessarily that you should therefore not tell them, or you should, if you're pre-everything, you just decide to like put that part of you aside. I think it's important for everybody to live up to be the best version of themselves that they can be. And if transitioning, or even just being pre-everything and binding, or not binding, or however you decide to identify yourself gender-wise or sexual orientation-wise, I just think that it will affect you differently whether you're with them or not, because they're entitled to their own reaction. First of all, never try to protect them or yourself from another person's reaction to this information. He could have said, whoa, that's a deal breaker for me, I can't handle that. But at least then he would have been being honest, because I don't want to make him miserable any more than I want to be miserable. Now, the fact that he's been so supporting, I'll admit, it does make me a little bit nervous. Not because I feel like I deserve to be unhappy. Since I am pre-everything, it's very different than if I actually did it. And a part of me, no matter what he says, worries that if I were to get top surgery, which I'm definitely seriously not even considering, like I feel like that's my plan for the future, to get top surgery. And he's told me straight up, I like your boobs, and I'm gonna be a little bit sad, or I'll miss them, or I won't be as attracted to you in the same way that I was before if you do that. And that's fine, and that's where he stands on that, but he's willing to stick with me despite that, so that's great. But if/when I actually do get the top surgery, his opinion might change, and I need to be aware of that, and I need to keep that in mind as I move forward, that my happiness might have to be separate from us being together. And I have come to the conclusion that I'm willing to roll the dice on that. Roll the dice on him feeling the same way. And if he doesn't, I'm not going to hold it against him, because I would understand. Because that is part of what being in a relationship is about, is, mutual gratification. And if part of the reason why he is attracted to me is because of my breasts and I don't have them anymore, I could understand him losing some of the enamor of me. I could understand that. Know that they're entitled to their opinion, to their reaction, and that at the end of the day, you changing a fundamental thing like that physically about yourself might, I don't want to say push them away, but it might cause them to sort of fall out of love with you, especially if they're straight. And my boyfriend identifies as straight, and so I understand that it's a little bit different for him than if he were trans or if he were gay or if he were pansexual. But since he's straight, it is sort of a sacrifice because part of being straight is being attracted to the female body. And for him to even say, going so far as to say, I know you're not really a female, and I know that you want to do this, and I still love you anyway, is very amazing. And I don't know how common that is. I feel like that must be uncommon, especially for somebody who identifies as straight. So I don't mean to say like, I'm one in a million, but I would keep that in mind if you are in a relationship with somebody who's straight and you are talking to them about transitioning. Keep in mind that they are liable to be less accepting, not accepting, but less likely to go on that journey with you in a relationship than somebody who is bisexual, pansexual, trans, etc., etc. So, yes. And that's basically what I have to say about trans FTM relationships and my own personal experience with it. So, I will see you all next Wednesday.